This week we're going to make a little Santa Claus mailbox for the front porch of the dollhouse. Stay tuned and see how fun and easy this is to do. All right, for basically the base or the form of the mailbox for Santa's mail, we're going to use three things. We're going to use a jumbo craft stick. We're going to use each end of this. These are a really good size for this, and they're 3/4 of an inch wide, and they're already curved at the top. Then I have this. This is what Dollar Tree calls a tumbling tower block. It's their version of the Jenga game, and you get a whole bag of like 50 of them for $1 at Dollar Tree. They're really good for doing crafts with. This also happens to be 3/4 of an inch wide, and it's thick enough that we can use it to glue everything together. So we're going to cut 1 inch off of each rounded end of the craft stick, and then we're going to cut this down to 1 inch long. Then I also have a piece of just white cardstock that's also 1 inch wide. And don't worry about lines, because we're going to paint all of this once we get it put together. So off camera, I'm going to get this marked and cut so I can get it cut nice and straight and accurately. And when that's all done, I'll come back and we'll start assembling our mailbox. All right, here's all our pieces. And I misspoke. This is 1 1/8". I'll hopefully have a correction at the bottom of the screen back when I told you the size, and again now, and it will be on the blog post at the correct size, but 1 1/8" piece. So now all we need to do is glue our pieces of jumbo craft stick to the ends of our little chunk of tumbling tower block. Now you will need to get the bottoms level with the base, and you will need to have this be nice and straight. So you'll want to make sure that you cut straight and accurately when you cut that. But I thought this one you can use either inside or outside your dollhouse. It's a nice advantage to this piece. It will fit either way. So now we are just going to let that glue dry thoroughly. I don't think I'm going to need to tape it or anything. It looks like it's going to stay nicely. So when that glue dries, I'll come back and we can do the next step. All right, this glue is set up enough now. It's fairly dry. I've got a knife here on the table I've been using for stuff, so I'm just going to use that. That way the paper will curve around this a lot better. You see it fits just right. So and I tried this actually with red paper, and I found the red paper, it just didn't work as well. The white I think is going to work a lot better because the color doesn't crack. And it's pretty similar to the color of our wood. We have to paint the wood anyway, so we might as well paint the paper at the same time. I suppose you could use whatever color of cardstock you have on hand. I'm just putting glue along this. It's going to be hard to get glue where I want it there. There we go. You could make this shorter if you want to. I like the taller shape. It'll be easier to decorate. If you want it to be a more realistic size, you could cut the height down to 3/4 of an inch or even 1/2 inch. It's up to you. I'm going to wipe off as much of the excess glue as I can. Make sure that my edges are seated up against there, and Fold that paper nice and tight, and I'm going to set this off to the side so that it can dry. When that glue gets dry, we will come back and we will do some painting. All right, that glue has dried, so I'm going to take just a moment and find my knife right there. I'm going to trim the paper even with that. All right, now we've got a nice, neat mailbox to paint. So I am going to give it a handle. It will make it much easier to work with. And to do that, I'm just going to use some of this poster tack. I love this stuff. This way, it's anchored and it's not going anywhere. And I've just got some red Anita's. This is True Red. Do I have a container? Put it on here. I don't really want to have red paint all over my tile today. And we don't need to paint the bottom, so we're just going to paint this. And it will take at least 2 coats, which I won't make you sit through. So I am going to go ahead and turn the camera off. I'm going to get this painted all the way. I'm going to wrap my brush up, and then when this coat of paint is dry, I'm going to come back. I'm going to put a second coat on, and when that's dry, I'll decide if it's ready to go or if I need a third coat, and I'll let you know when I come back. So I'll see you in a little bit. Alright, this has got 2 coats of red paint on, and I think I'm happy with it. So I've got some white paint here. And since I'm working on multiple projects and I don't want paint all over my tray, I'm going to put it on there. So I'm going to freehand this. Hopefully I won't mess it up. And I'm only going to do one side on camera, and then I'll do the other side after this one dries. I'm going to do the other side off camera. So I'm going to start with, okay, I don't like that brush. Let's try this brush. Don't particularly like that one either. I'm going to get every brush I own dirty. Let's try a toothpick. That's better. Sometimes a toothpick works better than a paintbrush. I'll probably have to fix this off camera because I'm probably not going to get it very neat on camera. If you have stickers you'd like to use, those would work great too. All right, I think that'll do. So I'll let that dry, and then I'll do the other side. Let me take one of these brushes I already got wet, and I'm going to paint the end of this skewer, and you'll see why in a little bit. We're going to need this in a little while. When I do the other coat of, when I do the letters on the other side, I will paint this another coat, When all of that paint is dry, I'll come back and we'll put some snow on the top of our mailbox. All right, the first side we wrote earlier is dry, and there's the second side. I really don't like my handwriting, but I'm gonna go with it. It's okay. Put a dot of red paint back into my A's. It's rustic, we'll just call it that. Now I've still got some white paints in here. Is it still liquid? Yeah. I want to add just a little bit of snow along the top. Then after we put a finish on it, we're going to add some glitter. I'm not a big fan of glitter, but for Christmas, it's kind of expected, I think. You don't have to do the glitter part if you don't want to. I don't want a solid line. I want it kind of there. Now we're going to let that dry. And then this stick that we painted the end on. It's red paint back over here. I want to make, see if I can do this way. I'm just going to make some diagonal red lines. You'll see why in a little bit. Well, I'm going to finish this up off camera, and when this paint is dry, we'll come back and we will do the next step. All right, now we are going to cut this down. I like to use claw trimmers when I cut round things like skewers and such. I'm going to trim it on both ends because I don't like, just a little bit. And let's see, we're going to need to, I don't have tweezers here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to dip it in the glue and stick it right there. And then that glue is going to need to dry. Once the glue is dry or set up somewhat, I'm going to come in with a little tiny paintbrush. I'm going to paint the ends of that skewer stick with red paint just so it'll blend in better. But I want this paint to be completely dry before we go on to adding our finish and our snow. So I'm going to let this dry, and then I'll be back after that's dry and the paint's dry. All right, so most of my paint has dried overnight. I'd forgotten to paint the ends of that little handle, so I had to do that a few minutes ago, but hopefully everything is dry and we are ready for a clear coat. So I've got some satin Mod Podge. I've got it out here on a little container. As always, I don't like to dip into my jar of Mod Podge. I don't want to take a chance of getting paint in there. Just a little, this is like one of those cups that fruit comes in. It has a dipped bottom in it. I love these upside down on my craft table for putting paint and finish in. If you have some of those, rather than recycling them or throwing them away, wash them out and keep them in your craft room to use for a palette for small amounts of paint and stuff. So this coat is going to coat everything, and then we're going to allow the rest of this Mod Podge to get a little bit thicker while this coat on here dries. And when this is dry, we will come back and we will add some to attach our snow to our mailbox. So I'll be back in just a second. All right, now I've got a piece of printer paper down on my surface because I'm going to work with the dreaded glitter. Because I want to add some sparkle to this. This is a Christmas decoration. This is supposed to be sparkly. So everywhere I painted the white on the top, I'm going to take this, and this, since the Mod Podge has sat out, it's gotten a little thick. So it's going to kind of clump up, and there's a hair sticking off my brush. It's still there. So I'm going to try and coat this. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be in the exact area where that is. I'm also going to hit the top of this handle and kind of down the edges there. And I'm trying to stay on camera. Usually, lately I've been putting masking tape on my tiles, so you know, so I stay to try and keep under camera better. I can't do that on this paper, so I have no guidelines to show where you guys can see, so I'm doing my best. I'm doing this over the paper so that it will catch any glitter that's extra. Looks like I might have missed. Let's get a little more Mod Podge. Looks like I totally missed this area. All right. Now I'm going to let that glue dry. I'm going to go wash my brush out really well because that combination of thickened Mod Podge with the glitter is going to make a mess in your brush if you picked up any glitter at all. We're going to let this dry. When it's dry, I'll come back and we will see how it looks, and then we'll place it on the front porch of the dollhouse. I'll be right back. Alright, our Mod Podge is dry now, and I love how this looks. Kind of tap it to get any glitter that isn't attached really tightly. And now, since I did the glitter on this paper, hopefully I can do this on camera without spilling. The whole idea is there. All the glitter's back in there. I can kind of tap the paper off over the trash can, and glitter mess contained. So I hope you enjoyed today's project. I certainly did. I can't wait to put this on the front porch of the dollhouse. So let's go do that right now. All right, there it is in place on the front porch of the dollhouse. I love it. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, push the like button. Leave me a comment. If you enjoy my content and haven't subscribed, go ahead and push that subscription button and the notification bell so you know when I put up a new video. Check out the blog post in the Facebook group, and I will talk to you next time.